Today we're going to talk about part 1 of measures of central tendency. So the first term we're going to talk about is the mean. It's also known as the average. To find the mean, we find the sum of all the pieces of data. So we add them all together. Then we divide them by the number of pieces of data there were. So for instance, if we have 10 numbers, we add the 10 numbers and then divide by 10, since that's how many numbers we had. The next one is the median. So the median is talking about the middle. So in order to find the median, we order the data pieces from least to greatest. The median is the number directly in the middle of the data set. If two numbers fall in the middle of the data set, find the mean or the average of those two numbers and use that for the median. So least to greatest, the number in the middle will be the median. Our last two terms today are mode. So mode means the most. Use the ordered data from the median, identify the number that appears most frequently in the data set. There can be more than one mode. So if there are two numbers that appear 3 different times, and that's the most that a number appears, both of those numbers would be the mode. The range, this is the difference between the minimum and the maximum of the data set. So again, we use that ordered data from the median and we find the difference between the greatest and smallest pieces of data. So we subtract them. I went ahead and skipped to problem number 2. We're going to do problem number 2 together, and then I'm going to have you go back and try problem number 1 on your own. So the first thing, in order to find the mean, we have to add the data together. So there's a lot of ways you could do this. You could make a list of all of them and add. You can make groupings as long as you don't forget one. I typically like to add sets together in my list here. So I know that 3 and 7 is 10, 5 and 5 is 10. So that's 10, 20, and 2 makes 22. So I know that this part of the data is 22. Then I have a 5, and a 5 is 10, plus another 10 is 20, plus 11 is 31, plus 6 is 37. Now I can add these two numbers together and get 59. Now, again, there's a lot of different strategies you can use. As long as you add them correctly and make sure you don't forget any, you can use whatever strategy you'd like. This is just the strategy I prefer. So I know that the sum of my data is 59. Now, how many pieces of data do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. So to find the mean, I'm going to take 59 divided by 10. Remember that the top number goes inside the house. And when I divide, I end up with my answer of 5.9. So my average, or my mean, is 5.9. Now, going back to the mean, median, range, or median, mode, and range, we have to put these data in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to start with my smallest number. Well, I don't have a 0 or a 1. I have a 2, a 3, no 4s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a 6, a 7, a 10, and an 11. Now, I know that I should have 10 pieces of data from when I did the mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know I didn't forget anything. So these, once you've ordered them, you can do them in any order you'd like. So I'm going to start here with the range. So I know that my minimum amount is 2, and I know that my maximum amount is 11, the least and the greatest. Now remember, I subtract those to find the range. So 11 take away 2 is 9. So 9 is the range of the data set. Remember, for the mode, that means the most. Which number in this data set appears the most? Well, we see that there are 4 5s, and that's the most that any one number appears. So 5 will be the mode. Now for the median, I need to find the middle of the data set. So here, what I like to do is I like to cross out or mark one on each side until I get all the way to the middle. So 2, 11, 3, 10, 5, 7, 5, and 6. Now you can see that I have 2 numbers here in the middle. So remember that we have to find the average of those 2 numbers. Now they might not always be the same number. So we would add those 2 numbers and divide it by 2 since there are 2 of them. 5 and 5 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So in this case, our median is 5. Now, go back to number 1 and give this a try on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, try out all of the parts, and then we'll talk about it together. All right, so I have started by adding my data up. I have 15 for this part and 21 for this part. Know that 15 plus 21 is 36. Now, how many pieces of data do we have this time? We have 9 pieces of data. So 36 divided by 9 is 4. So the mean or the average of this data set is 4. Now we need to order the data from least to greatest. So starting with the lowest number. Again, I know I should have 9 pieces of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, again, the range, the maximum is 8. The minimum is 1. So the range is 8 minus 1, which is 7. Now for the mode, the number that appears the most, well, we see that 2 appears twice and 4 appears twice. There aren't any numbers in my data set that appear more than twice, so I have a mode of 2 different numbers. So my mode is 2 and 4. Now for the median. Again, starting on each side, mark one out or mark one showing that you're counting towards the middle. Going back and forth from each side. Now I get to the middle, and this time there's only one number. So that number is my median, and it is also 4.